So, Tom, when we broke, you were talking about how on Native American, in the Native American community in this country, has largely been experiencing the problems that we are now most recently seeing within white communities, particularly
Right.
white communities that have been particularly slow to recover, if recovering at all, since the 2008 financial crisis, and particularly in the context of just a lack of hope, which has been one of the drivers of the opioid addiction epidemic we're experiencing in this country. But of course, there's other drivers too. And those other drivers, at least in the white community, has been this dynamic of the overprescribing of opioid painkillers, and then the problem metastasizes. What is that been the same dynamic on in Native American community as well?
Well, what you're saying, and it's going to be accelerated. It's almost like an accelerant with regard to the policy prescriptions that are being put forward. As you know, Medicaid is a huge poverty eliminator. And with the proposed reductions in Medicaid across the country, and therefore the collateral impact on the ability to have drug prevention centers, best practices, research, it's going to have a cascading effect. So at the time when we need, our society and Indian country needs more than ever, best practices, drug abuse centers, any way to alleviate poverty and provide an environment of hope, we are doing the direct opposite of what should be done. We're cutting back on Medicaid, which services the poor. And when you look at the indicia of, people keep talking about the American dream, that's fiction anymore. When you look at the ability of people to move up the income ladder of inequality up to a middle class, upper middle class, that really doesn't exist anymore. When you compare it to other Western societies, we'd like to have that kind of, the dream has just been deferred, but only for a while. We're doing the policy prescriptions in this country now, which are in direct opposition of what should be done. And when it comes to pharmaceuticals, distributors, pharmacists, physicians, the song and the sheet music has changed. We went in the last 5 years from, there's no problem, it's nobody's fault, to whose fault it is. Well, the music's playing, and there's only so many chairs in the room. And now we have the pharmaceutical companies pointing their fingers at the distributors. We got the distributors pointing their fingers at the pharmacy benefit managers. And the pharmacy benefit managers are pointing their fingers at the physicians. Well, they're all culpable. And the music is playing, but it's going to end.
I would just explain
when it
that.
ends, there's only going to be so many chairs.
Yeah, explain that dynamic, though. I mean, just for people who may not be familiar, because I think people are largely aware of the opioid epidemic, but I don't know that they're really clear on how this was a function of all of those players that you just mentioned.
Well, as a moral person and as an ethical person, you have a duty to know your customer. In my work everyday life, I know who my customer is. I form a relationship with them. That doesn't mean what the constant theme, as I told you about poverty, the lack of hope, the lack of education. What is the constant theme in this segment of our business society, whether it's pharmacists, physicians, benefit managers, distributors, pharmaceutical company, is money. They are the new Wall Street. They are motivated by one thing and one thing only: money. Make as much as you can, get it as fast as you can. Now, there are good people in those segments of that business market and in that niche. But overwhelmingly, they spend far much more money on marketing than they do actual research. They have their colleagues, physicians, write these articles. Go back and look at what was written about OxyContin and all of them in earlier decades. It was going to save us all. 24-hour pain management, 7 days a week. Write as many prescriptions as you can. Flood the market. We're all in on it together. Everybody winked at each other. We're all doing well. Nobody asked the question is, was this the right thing to do?
Right.
Everybody was partying and making money and going to their conferences. Lower income America, middle income America got high. And nobody gave a damn. Well, guess what? We've moved from there's no problem to getting all those people in the room, the music's playing, and it's going to stop. And there's only so many chairs. And everybody has a record and a legacy. They know what they did. They can't unwind the story. And even our government, the DEA, all these ex-DEA officials going to work for pharmaceutical companies. That is an embarrassment. And even though we've got McKesson and Cardinal to have settlements of $175 million, $40 million here, what an embarrassment. People are dying. And we're supposed to champion and we're supposed to be proud of the fact that McKesson, which makes billions of dollars, and Cardinal Health, and we're supposed to celebrate a $40 million fine? Try again. Try again.
Well, Tom Rodgers, I appreciate your taking the time to talk to us about this today. There was other things I want to touch on. I know that you have been working on the Dakota Access Pipeline and have a heck of a story to tell about Jack Abramoff. Hopefully we'll have another chance to talk about that another time, but really appreciate your taking the time today.
Thank you, Sam. I appreciate it so much.